Is organic food better for you? Now, I didn't study nutrition in college. I studied agriculture, so I am going to present this from the perspective of a grower or a farmer who has grown both conventional and organic produce. Is what I grow. I grow produce in Sonora, Mexico. So right off the bat, I'll just say that there was a study that was done a few years ago, and maybe perhaps I'll link to the study below, by, I believe it was Stanford University, and it was a pretty prolonged study over many years where they compared, I'm not sure if they were looking at all food types, like as far as produce, meat, poultry, but I know that they were studying produce, comparing conventional produce versus organic produce as far as nutritional value. And it was interesting that in this study, which this years-long study, the result was that nutritional-wise, there wasn't really much of a difference between conventional produce and organic produce. Conventional produce was just as nutritious as organic produce, and you were getting all the same good nutritional value in either one. And they even checked for, well, what about pesticide residues and whatnot, or is there some sort of long-term effect of having pesticide residues? Well, and I think what a lot of people don't realize in conventional produce, years back, I think there were some pretty harsh chemicals that were used, and there's still a few out there that would maybe be slightly, they're slightly toxic, and I don't mean toxic in a way at the rates that they're used. They are not toxic at all. These things are very well studied, but my point is that there a lot of these new chemistries coming out are very specialized, and so they're very pest specific, and they have novel modes of action that aren't these just broad spectrum lethal chemistries that work on the central nervous system. They're more obscure, complex modes of action. So, and they break down faster in the environment, and they're much more environmentally friendly. So if you go off that Stanford study, then no, I guess there's not a huge difference in as far as is organic better for you. But that being said, and this is not all studies are correct. I think if you give it the test, and if I were to if someone were to give me this test or this option and say, okay, if price being equal, would you rather eat organic food or conventionally grown food? And if price really wasn't a function, then I would choose organic. And I think most people would probably choose organic. So I think inherently, we believe that organic food is better for you. And I want to say that it probably is at some level. I know, coming from, this is the perspective of a grower, with growing organic produce, I actually enjoyed. A lot of people didn't like growing organic because it is more challenging, and on certain crops it can be very challenging. But I actually enjoyed growing organically because the types of different fertilizers that are available or that are available for organic production are very complex. Whether it be some sort of fish fertilizer or fish meal or bone feather meal or some sort of compost. A lot of these, they don't just have your nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, calcium, kind of the macronutrients. They also have a lot of little micronutrients that sometimes you don't think about, and sometimes, and a lot of times the micronutrients isn't really a problem if you have good soil, everything's good. But given that if you provide the correct nutrients to an organic crop, to me they always look healthier in general as compared to some conventional crops. Where on conventional crops, that's where every once in a while I'd run into some real head scratchers as far as like what's going on here agronomically. It's just some sort of micronutrient deficiency, or it just seemed like agronomically I'd run into tougher questions or tougher problems as far as like what's wrong? Why is the plant acting kind of funny? It has this symptom. In organic, that didn't seem to be the case. The only thing organic that you really had to worry about is weeds, and then if you were low on nitrogen, and then if that's the case, then you just have to apply more nitrogen, and that's usually the major problem with organic is the lack of nitrogen, and weeds and certain pests. There's certain pests that there are organic, and just so everyone knows that organic produce, when it's organically grown, they're still applying organic pesticides. There's a lot of different organic pesticides out there that, yes, are approved organic, and they have different modes of actions, and yes, they do break down faster, or in most cases are better for the environment. But some are very lethal, not lethal towards humans, but very extremely lethal towards that specific pest. But there's just certain pests where you could use preventative control organically, as far as there's certain products that work decent in a preventative approach, but there's just certain crop pests that if you get a huge population of them, and there's just nothing out there, there's not a silver bullet that's going to control it. So that was always the major thing. So I guess what I'm saying is that, yeah, I think maybe they were missing something in that study. It's because just to me, an organic feel, when it was clean of weeds and clean of any insects or pathogens of some sort, they look healthier. And as I said, it seemed like they were never lacking in strange deficiencies that sometimes you would see in a conventional field. So, and then that's just growing organic. But what I want to start getting into is I grow in Mexico. The company's called Frontera Fresh, and we're currently growing conventional produce. And I've always wanted to get back into organic. But what I really want to get back into is organic, but even like more like sustainable and a regenerative farming approach, where sometimes just because it says it's organic, I don't think it's really being, a lot of times it's not being produced in a very sustainable way, even though, or that's best for the environment. They're sourcing products from around the world or whatever it may be, just to call it organic. And here's another thing, and I'm going to start coming out with more videos about this, because I'm tired of seeing, and what I want to touch upon is that is organic healthy better? Is organic food better for you? Okay, probably is. But what I think people should be concerned about is it truly organic? Because there's a lot of bad actors out there. Now, I'll start off by saying that there are a lot of honest, good, organic produce farmers that play by the rules and provide truly organic produce. what I'm saying is there's a few bad actors out there that are making a lot of money claiming that they sell organic produce, and they're lying to the industry, and they're defrauding you or us as end consumers, which I think is unfortunate, and it's a morally wrong thing to do. I don't know why they do it. It's risky, but it looks like no one is out there. No one is doing anything about it, and so I think the best thing that what I can do about it is maybe put somewhat of a spotlight on it, but then not just sit back and criticize, but actually do something about it and grow organically myself, and try to provide truly organically grown produce that I know is organically grown to customers, and create more of a relationship with the customers, directly with you as customers. And yes, okay, we'll have the organic certification and everything, but that doesn't really, I don't think that really matters, just the certification, because people gain the certification. As I'm saying, there are people out there that sell organic, and I'm tired of them making a lot of money claiming that they sell organic, and when I know it's not organic. It's I can't compete with that, and the people that play by the rules, they can't compete with it, and it's wrong. And so the time has come where this has to stop, and these people cannot continue to benefit off of this fraud that they're committing. So that'll come later down. I'd like to talk about that a little bit more, and what I want to do about it, and what I'm changing Frontera Fresh. How originally the vision of Frontera Fresh was just going to be basically just I want a farming company, farming out of Mexico, providing fresh produce. And I planned on getting back into organic, but not now. I'm really going, not even organic. We're going hardcore organic and sustainable and regenerative. I mean, that's the way to go. That is truly organic, and it's better for the soil. It's better for the environment, and it's going to taste much better. I think you're going to see that they're going to be healthier. And I would like to, when that day comes, I would like to have Stanford do another research study, and because I've seen produce grown under these practices, and they look much better, and they do taste much better. But again, we got to get out of this complex of, and I want to show that it can be done at a large commercial scale. But it can't get to, we got to get back to, shelf life and growing for taste, and not just growing for shelf life. So there's going to be some give and take. But I think this is as a consumer, you need to be educated, and I'm pretty sure you guys want the best tasting food, right? And so that should be the focus, and that's what I want to focus on. And while doing that, exposing some of these bad actors, and not calling them out, not by name, but just shining a light on it, and letting you know as a consumer that whatever we're doing, or Frontera Fresh will do in the future, whether it be growing organically ourselves, or I would like to start being working with other growers and supplying truly organic, sustainably grown produce to the end consumers like yourself. So that's to come. Let's see what happens, and I look forward to continuing this discussion, and I'll put my contact info below. Feel free to contact me anytime, and would love to see any comments. And if if anyone is interested, if anyone, I think it's important that people, as end consumers, as people that choose to buy organic, well, they should know. They should know and have full confidence that it truly is organic. You know, that's a basic, and I'd like to know if people, that's, I think that would be very interesting to most people that choose organic, and maybe it's a shock. They would be shocked and extremely upset to find out that, well, you know, maybe some of what they bought is really not organic, right? So let's see where that discussion goes, and